All right, welcome back for another episode of Carnivore Trades. Today is Monday, October 3rd, 2022. Not done so already, give the video a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts and analysis. Anyways, let's get into the market here. So all weekend long, it was bearish this, bearish that. Market's going to crash. We're going to gap down to zero Monday. The whole economy is going to blow up. And what was I calling for all weekend? Said we'd have a technical bounce this week, and we definitely got one there. And just goes to show you that you got to use the charts here. I mean, I know that we closed below that double bottom, but you got to look at what you're going into here. 200-week moving average, previous all-time high. We have the 50-month moving average right in this area here. It's very close. That's going to get defended. That's just the way it works. And last Friday's, the last 10 minutes rather, of price action was very indicative, and I made this very clear Friday. That price action was indicative of end of quarter stuff. The volatility index, VIX, was red despite that massive dump on Friday. A lot of it's end of quarter OPEX, repositioning, rebalancing, window dressing, you name it. But we got a technical bounce here today, and let's just leave it at that for now. The big question is, where can we go from here? So we talked about this last week. I said this is a huge red flag that we didn't close above the high of the 923 candle. So I said that was a huge red flag on the 28th. That ended up giving us a sell-off the next 2 days. Now, can we rally up and close above that? Or do we get up here and then it's another sell? That's really the big question. That's the million-dollar question, right? I will say this, I do have the spiders going up to at least 371 here. That's just off of, a measured move, some calculation I did here. And there's also another potential shorter term target here on the ES. So for those of you who follow the futures, I'll just back this up. We'll go to the hourly. So we're to the hourly there. There's a nice megaphone pattern here right at the lows, and that will take you up to 37.75. Now, 371 on the spider is right about equal to about 37, 36. So right around that pivot high there, going back to the 29th. So that's where 371 is. So if we were to go up and touch this trend line, you'd logically think that we're going to close above that level on the spiders, unless we were to get up to this level intraday somehow and then roll over. That would be a pretty big move, though. That would be a very volatile move. But those are really the levels I'm watching here. And for those of you who follow the SPX, it's 37.27. So it's not quite exact on here, but it's about 37.27. That's really the closing level that we're looking for. If we do that, we're definitely going to go fill that gap, and then we'll probably trade up to about 3,800, depending on how long it takes us to get above this level if we do it. But your target here would be that 20 moving average, and then you're around 38.30, 38.40. You got these pivots down here. I would expect that to be pretty good resistance as well. But really, the big question is, can we get above that level? And that's really what it is right now. But it's a nice move off the lows, and we're starting to fade a little bit here. It's about 3:45, 3:48 p.m. A little bit of profit taking, some longs covering or closing out some positions here. You see the VIX getting a little bit of a bid there as well, so volatility creeping up. But let's just leave it at that. Nice little rally for the market. It was due for a technical bounce. Very oversold on the daily. Going into some major support levels. So that is to be expected. And you never want to, let the news cause you to make an emotional decision. By the way, take a look at Credit Suisse today. That's a pretty good outside candle there with heavy volume. They look at this intraday. The first 10 minutes they bagged shorts on the. They got them right on board and then ripped this thing V-shape right back up. And you see the same thing on Deutsche Bank, Barclays as well. So pretty good move there for those European banks. Again, not saying that this is bullish. I'm not saying that this is any less of a bad thing. But short term, you got to look at these little indicators here and signals, and they'll tell you a lot about the market. Anyways, triple Qs here. Bottom line is we defended the double bottom. That got defended. We got a nice little bid off the lows, up 2.6% on the day. The Qs are down, are up a little bit less than the spiders, and I believe a lot of that has to do with Tesla here. So Tesla taking a big hit, down 8% on the day. That's actually right into a 618. So we'll see if that can bounce tomorrow, but that's a pretty good sell-off. That's also obviously off of the weaker deliveries number. But nice little dump there for Tesla, and that is kind of causing the Qs to lag a little bit. Russell 2000 up just under 3%, so that's one of the leaders here. Still not above that blue, back above that blue trend line, but it's had a nice bounce, and we'll leave it at that. The Dow is also still a weak index here. This made 52-week lows actually well over a week ago, so that is by far the weakest index right now. Anyways, another little hint this morning, at least earlier this morning, that the market was going to get a bounce, or had a good chance of that, is the semiconductors. Take a look at that first candle there. Gapped up, pulled back just like the rest of the market, but then that second 10-minute candle, huge surge. So far outperformed the rest of the market there in the second 20 minutes. And you guys know I love those semiconductors as leading indicators, and they turned out to be that today. So now just kind of testing this upper falling wedge trend line. If this can get a breakout, you're going to go right up to 200, that even number there on the SMH. So nice little move there for the semis, and those did lead to the upside. Intel had a nice day. Intel's a slow mover, and this was up over almost 5.5% at one point. I did pick up a little bit of Intel on Friday. I just loved the level too much. I had to nibble at it. But nice little pop there for Intel. You see NVIDIA up 3.27, AMD up 4.5 as well. Micron up 3.5. This was up almost 5%. I think it was up over 5% at one point, but nice move there for the semis any way you slice it or dice it. IGV, also tech sector, getting a nice 3% bid. Still not above, oh no, it did just get above Friday's high, so I take that back, but you still kind of have a, a bearish kind of wedge here on the daily. So until you really get above, well, this high, so 259.23, this is still a weak chart here, a weak technical chart. And then your kind of resistance, your first stop would be around that 265 area, 20 MA, and that was your previous breakdown area, as we'll show you on the weekly. So that goes right back up to their pre-pandemic highs. So that would be, support becoming resistance essentially. Anyways, Dow Transport's also getting a nice bid, just like everything else, up 3.25 currently. Made a little outside candle too last week, so nice pop there. Coming back in off the highs again. It's a technical bounce. It's not called anything. It's not. Upside targets are still the same. 12,800, 13,000. Nothing's really changed there. But again, nice little bid there for the transports. Another reason why I want to say, I want to make this clear. This is just a technical bounce. This is a nice bid for the 2-year, but it's not. This is not a bottom. This is not what a bottom looks like. And until I see the 2-year absolutely surging and soaring to the upside, we still have problems out here. And I actually have a proprietary buy signal on the 10-year right now. So this can still go higher. And if yields continue higher, it's not likely this market's going to have it's not like the bounce is going to be much more than a short-lived pop. So still problems in the bond market. Watch the bond market. The bond market will tell you what's going to happen. And right now we're not seeing any sort of bottoming signal here just yet. HYG still under pressure, getting a little bit of a bid today, but still hovering near the lows. It's not telling us that this is over just yet. So just be aware of that moving forward. Anyways, let's get over to Home Builders. XHB up 4%. Nice move. Nothing's changed there. So $58 still resistance right now. Same thing with ITB. 55 and change is your resistance there on the ITB. VNQ also finally getting an outside candle from last Friday. Still a little bit on the weaker side, but up 1 3/4. That's a pretty big move for VNQ. Your target here in the near term, 84. You've got the gap fill obviously, and then that down sloping 20 moving average, so around 86 as well. So there's a couple of good levels here, but again, this is really wickedly oversold. I mean, 103.50 down to $78 in a month. That's a pretty big move for an asset this size. This is a slow moving asset, by the way. I mean, a 1.7% move for this asset is big. So yeah, real estate under lots of pressure, but getting a bit of a relief bounce today. XLF, nice outside candle. Basically tested gap window. Didn't quite get to gap fill yet. Again, 20 MA on the upside is going to be a resistance along with that 32 handle. So that'll be kind of your level to watch there for XLF. XBD, broker dealers. Nice outside candle. Again, we've been noting for a while that XBD is the stronger horse. One of the stronger horses in the market altogether, but stalling out right here at that 423 area. So again, pivot low right there. That's where it stalled out today. Wouldn't rule out another little, push here in the XBD, but a nice little bid there off the lows for broker dealers. Anyways, let's shift gears to energy. Crude here up 5% today. Was up a little bit more, and I'm not convinced. This is a nice bid. Don't get me wrong. It's a nice little bid here for crude, but this, I need to see a close above that 20 moving average at least. We even got up to the 50 moving average. The 50 moving average is really the big test, but we need to see it. It's struggling with that 20 MA right now and that yellow trend line. So again, to show you guys one more time, back to the lows in November 2020. Beautiful trend line there, broke down. If that becomes resistance, I do think we come down to that 75 handle. Would love for that to happen. If it doesn't, is what it is. I still have a little bit of a position in oil, but I would like to add to it. Either way, nice little pop there for crude. XLE was really the story though today, up 5.5%. So that blasted through gap fill there. And if you look on the weekly, it's really starting to be clear, like this is kind of just a 50 MA defense really. So ever since, really about a year ago, last August, this has kind of been that 50 MA story, and the trend is up on the weekly. So that is your positive there. Nice little pop for XLE today. XOP also up 6.5%. So that's through gap fill. Again, probably have some resistance around that 50 and 100 moving average just above, and then OIH also through the gap fill into that 20 MA. So that will probably stall out right there. But nice move here for energy across the board, and really got to hand it to it outside of nat gas, which was down 3.5%, but did come off the lows. They defended that 200. Again, you have this kind of bear pair pennant here. We'll see how this plays out. It may be a fake breakdown. It's definitely, you definitely can't rule that out, because they did bid that off the lows pretty nicely. Again, I don't really have any trade on it either way at the current time, but I would be considering I would consider a buy around 550 on spot natty. Dollar index, surprisingly not down that much considering how much the market is rallying. But overall, basically the story's the same. It's down. We're looking for 110.75 in the near term. Through that, 109-ish, and then that upsloping trend line, 50 moving average. Nothing's really changed there. On to the precious metals, the big winner on the day. We'll start with gold here, up almost 2.25, which is a big move for gold. So nice pop off the lows. This looks like it wants that daily 50 moving average, and maybe that back testing that trend line one more time. Definitely can't rule that out at this point. GDX, which I do own, full disclosure, another 3.6% up on the day. And again, I talked about this falling wedge here. That fake breakdown turned out to be a money signal, and nice pop there. We're up, was it 26? Excuse me, 21. 21.50 was the low last week, and we're now at $25. So a huge move there for gold miners. Again, not really a fast moving index, but that's a monster move there in the last 6 or 7 sessions. Now, may it stall out here at the 50 moving average on the daily. You also have a gap fill at around 25.45 there, so could stall out here, but a nice pop off the lows. And on to the big winner today. Everybody's talking about it. Look at silver, up 9% on the day. I told you guys I liked it down here in this level. It's a shame I had some SLV, and we took some profits on the first half. We got stopped out on the second half. So we made, a small gain on it, nothing crazy. But what a surge there. Now, I would be a buyer on any pullback here. I believe silver is making its move now. So any pullback, any inside bar, consolidation. Now, this is a really big one-day extension here. So it's, there's a lot of resistance up here too, but this is a power move. So it may stall out a little bit. Don't chase it. Okay, don't chase it up at the highs. Let it give you a pullback. I don't care if it goes up to the 200 moving average tomorrow. Okay, don't chase it. Just let it come back in, and we'll wait for a safe pattern and a safe entry. But I do love silver here. SILJ up almost 7% now on the day. So continuing to surge here into the close. Again, this may stall out at that 100 MA there tomorrow, but a nice move there off the lows. Platinum, what have I been telling you guys? WB pattern. So beautiful move for platinum there. Still has to close above 908.20 on a daily basis, but nice power move there. This can also be bought on pullbacks and dips. So I love platinum here. Nice move for the metals. Rockstar move. Palladium does what it, does its own thing here, but it is up 2%. So we'll give it a golf clap for today. Copper also kind of just a micro kind of positive, flattish to positive inside day there for spot copper. But, you know, it's hanging up. It's hanging in there for now. So we'll just kind of give it the benefit of the doubt. Market's about to close here. We'll flip over to Bitcoin. Whoops. Just got rid of my face. Let's flip over to second. There we go. There's the closing bell. Again, nothing's changed here on Bitcoin. We're just kind of lazily drifting sideways. Weekly bearish consolidation, monthly bearish consolidation, but we're coming close to this trend line. So we're at an inflection point. We'll see, you know, which way does it break. Anybody's guess here. Trend is down. You do have weekly consolidation, so that definitely will be a factor here, but we'll continue to monitor it. In the meantime, you could always get a short-term breakout and then, you know, push up to 23,000 before rolling back over. That's always a possibility. But again, nothing really too new to add there to the chart of Bitcoin. Let's take a look back into the spider. So we did fade it a little bit off the highs, you know, into that 10-minute, 20 moving average. A little bit of a pullback. I wouldn't make too much out of it. It's a nice bounce for the market. Again, tomorrow, the story is really, can we get above that you know, 370.62 area there on the spiders? If we can do that, then we can move up to that 20 MA, 380, maybe 382 there on the SPY. Anyways, guys, going to wrap it up here. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com. Talk to you guys all tomorrow.